Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Teen shot to death by father after being mistaken for intruder. The St. Catherine South police are probing the fatal shooting of a 15-year-old boy at his home in East Cave Drive, Hershey, St. Catherine on Wednesday morning after he was mistaken for an intruder. The deceased is Raheem Shaw, a student of Woolmer's Boys School. Raheem was shot by his father, a licensed firearm holder. A neighbor said she heard gunshots when she got up to use the bathroom about 3:15. She then heard crying and ran outside to investigate. Me only see one neighbor a come cross and me hear the mother bawl and I say, "Where my do outside? Where my do outside? Where me a go do? Where me a go do?" The woman said when she learned of what happened, they rushed the teen to hospital. She said the teen appeared to be a decent boy. Him no go out a road, not even daytime. If nobody no know say the little boy over there so, nobody no know say a little boy over there so. Everybody shocked right now, she be mourned. According to the neighbor, the community was not really affected by incidents of burglary, but perhaps the father was on high alert because when you do addition to your house, people think you have money and stuff. It's reported that the family was asleep when Raheem's mother alerted her husband to the front gate and grill being opened. The father discharged 3 rounds through the front door after he heard someone open it. He then realized it was his son who had been shot. Raheem was pronounced dead at the Spanish Town Hospital. Senior Superintendent Christopher Phillips, commanding officer of the St. Catherine South Police Division, said Raheem's parents are devastated by the incident. According to the policeman, the teen had a good relationship with his father and was not known to be a troubled child, so his parents were not expecting him to be outside the house in the wee hours of the morning. SSP Phillips said the police are carrying out further investigations to determine why the teen was outside at that time and to put the pieces together so we have a fulsome picture of what took place. Woolmer's Boys School Principal Dwight Pennycock addressed this morning tragedy with Raheem's 5th form class. Grief counseling is being provided for the students.
Apparently they heard grill knocking and somebody entering. Their father got up and fired several shots. I don't know if he had confirmed what he was firing at, but he fired several shots. It was later borne out that his 15-year-old son was shot and injured. He later died at hospital. Very, 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 very unfortunate situation. Basically, this family now is devastated, and from what we gather so far, the father and the son did enjoy a very good relationship. But we will be doing our further investigation. Both parents are here. At the initial stage, we definitely would have to provide some counseling for both parents, and as we continue the investigation.
Man killed, woman injured in attack at Westmorland Guest House. A man was shot and killed, and a 38-year-old dressmaker was injured by a gunman at a bar at a guest house in Negril, Westmoreland on Tuesday night. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Edward Mosley, otherwise called Eddie, of Red Ground in Negril. The Negril police report that about 10:30 p.m., Mosley and the woman were among other patrons at a party being held at the Happy Quarters guest house located along Norman Manor Boulevard in Negril. Minutes later, a man dressed in dark clothes walked up to the bar whilst posing as a customer and ordered a bottle of liquor. He then left the bar, but quickly returned and brandished a handgun and opened fire, hitting Mosley and the woman. The gunman ran from the venue, and the police were summoned. Upon their arrival, Mosley was discovered suffering from gunshot wound to his head, and the female was shot in the foot. They were taken to hospital, where Mosley was pronounced dead and the woman admitted. Education Ministry to conduct census to get clear picture on the number of teachers in the system. The Education Ministry expects to get clear picture on the number of teachers in the system following a census in schools next month. Education Minister Favour Williams says there is no longer the same level of anxiety seen at the start of the school year as it relates to availability of teachers. The issue of teacher migration was a major concern prior to the start of school, as reports emerged of teachers leaving the system, some for jobs overseas, and many schools began advertising several posts. Mrs. Williams spoke on the matter at a post-cabinet press briefing.
When we started the school year, there were a lot of questions on teacher migration. Just to say, we believe things have quieted down. We have not seen the same level of anxiety that we saw before school began. Obviously, teacher migration is a global phenomenon. There are significant workplace shifts on the way across the world in a lot of countries. We gave strategies for teacher recruitment, including the concept of locum tenens, in which teachers on leave, on their long leave, can return to teach and be paid for teaching as well as for their leave. We will know exactly where we are when we do the census taking in October in our schools. In the meantime, as a data point, we're seeing fewer advertisements, and we're not hearing that there are large number of positions to be filled.
Plea hearing for alleged wife killer delayed. The plea and case management hearing for Everton Beaches South McDonald has been further delayed until October 6. The Portland businessman is charged with the murder of his second wife, Tony Hamilton McDonald. The delay comes as the defense failed to confirm if full disclosure was made available to them by the prosecution. Justice Bennett Graham Allen says both the defense and the Crown have failed to comply with the court's orders, resulting in a waste of time. Justice Graham Allen, who says she forced to adjourn, urged both the defense and the prosecution to engage in discussions prior to the next scheduled court date. Beaches Stout, who appeared via Zoom in the Home Circuit Court, was remanded in custody until October 6. His co-accused, Oscar Barnes, had his bail extended until then. A trial date is expected to be set at that time. Hamilton McDonald was found with her throat slashed on July 20, 2020. Her body was found just outside of a car that was set ablaze on the Tailington Main Road in Sherwood Forest, Portland. The Portland businessman is also charged with the 2009 murder of his first wife, Merlene McDonald. The matter is also set for October 6 for a plea and case management hearing. Merlene McDonald was shot in her driveway after parking her car on the Bournebrook Port Antonio, Portland home. The Crown disclosed that both cases are to be treated separately, with the murder of his second wife to be dealt with first. Fall in line and obey school rules, says Education Minister. Education Minister Favor Williams is calling on parents and students to fall in line and obey agreed upon school rules regarding uniform and grooming. The minister made the call while addressing a post-cabinet media briefing. The Education Minister says she encourages stakeholders to engage formal channels in advocating for changes they wish to see, but, she says, one consensus is reached on the way forward. Persons should fall in line and abide by the school rules. Mrs. Williams says schools must be governed by a clear system.
We live in a democracy. Consensus is what we strive to get, and once that is reached, then everybody needs to fall in line and obey the rule, especially school rules. You have thousands of children, in our primary or high school, almost 1,000 schools. We have to have a system, we have to have a method. My position as a minister, our position as a ministry is that we will continue to stand on the side of discipline, of law and order. We believe our schools are the ideal place in which to teach our students to obey rules, beginning with obeying the school rules. We set at a high level the standards, if you will, by which we will measure the policy at the school level. It is not currently done, and it is not our intention to prescribe the length of a girl's uniform or the length of a boy's pants or the size of it. We leave those decisions to our boards in our schools. If there are rules that, as a parent, as a student, as a teacher, or others in the system that you do not like, we are encouraging you to engage the process. It could be as simple as a meeting with the principal. You may have to move from that if you feel that you did not get a hearing. You may have to write to the board. You may have to advocate peacefully with other parents, take up signatures. We're used to doing that in different communities when we want to get decisions changed. We have to get to that point in our school system in which not just students, parents, and all the stakeholders are operating in a space in which there is respect for everyone in that space. And if there's disagreement, there's a process through which you air what that disagreement is.
Health Ministry to stop issuing daily COVID-19 updates. The Health Ministry is to stop issuing daily COVID-19 updates and will start doing once per week. The change is to take effect on Saturday. No explanation was given for the move. The Health Ministry says COVID-19 numbers will now be published in its surveillance bulletin, which is put out weekly on the ministry's website at moh.gov.jm. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.